Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity, and I want to congratulate you for this decisive victory. It's very decisive. Ghanaians have spoken. And I remember when we were endorsing your candidature, they asked us that why is it that when our mom was alive, the late Ekweadonko, she was having some problems with you, and why do we want to come and endorse you? And we told them that it's a political party. It's not a private firm that is for Ekweadonko. So we went around, spoke to our members, and the decision was that we should support the candidature of His Excellency John Mahama. That's why we did so, and we were so happy that we were not put to shame, because we knew you were going to win very decisively. Looking at this, the abysmal performance of this government for the past 8 years, you see, when your time comes, it has come. Everybody saw what happened in 2020 when you were stolen, real stolen verdict. And 2024, they were disgraced. And I remember that, this one, I'm very sorry to say that, but somebody said we had a president who lost by close to 1 million. And God has made you win by close to 2 million votes, which means you've even cancelled that. You have made record, a very great record, and we thank God for that. So nobody can even say that you lost by 1. No, you've cancelled that record, and now H.E. Baumia is now carrying that shame on his head. Yes. Your Excellency, we pray that God should help you, because the whole country, everybody in the country is looking up to you. And we know our Father will never disappoint, because we are always liaising with the winning team, and we know you're a winner. God should help you to win. Thank you very much.
Thank you. After the declaration, I got some requests from several of, for want of a better word, let me say the smaller parties.
The minority parties.
Minority parties, yeah. That it sounds better. Minority parties, yeah, to pay congratulatory visits. Unfortunately, shortly after the declaration, I wasn't feeling too well, and so it was not possible for us to do it earlier. By the grace of God, I'm feeling much better, and we therefore decided to schedule today, to receive you. I'm sure some of the other parties did not get the message on time, and so maybe we'll schedule another time and receive them too. But I want to thank you for your congratulatory messages, and to thank you for a successful election, because all of us were stakeholders in this election, and all of us are parts of the Interparty Advisory Committee that works with the Electoral Commission to be able to ensure that the electoral processes are transparent, free, and fair. And so no role is too small, and the consensus that we built after the NDC came back into IPAC has paid off in terms of this election that we've had. And so we must congratulate each other for a successful election. The election was not perfect, even though it was successful and peaceful. And like he just said, he says you must win the election emphatically so that there's no cause for dispute. I put it in a different way. I said I was going to go like Azuma Nelson with my own referee into the ring. And when Azuma was asked who his referee was, he said his punches, he will knock out his opponent, and so no referee can determine that the opponent who is on the ground won the election. And I think that's exactly what happened. We virtually knocked out our opponents, and so Electoral Commission had no option but to declare us the victors in the election. We take this with a huge sense of humility and modesty, and we believe that it's a huge responsibility that the people of Ghana have put on us. And as I said yesterday, and as Nkrumah said in one of his speeches, I cannot quote exactly what he said, but he said the people of Ghana might appear docile and peaceful and slow to anger, but when the time comes and they strike, they really, I've forgotten how he said it, but in democratic parlance, they have shown that when they have had enough, they really would come out and make their sentiments felt. And that is exactly what has happened. And so, like I said yesterday, it's a lesson to the whole political elite. probably this administration is our last chance to get things right, because as has been shown by the different Afrobarometer reports and other surveys, the confidence especially of our youth, the faith of our youth especially in our democratic institutions is waning. Yeah, and anecdotally, even if you spoke to many of them, they said, oh, they don't see the need to vote because it's not opening up opportunities for them, and so they don't see why every 4 years they must be called to vote. And so this administration bears a responsibility on behalf of all the other political parties and other stakeholders in our politics to make a good job of it and begin the reset. That's why we call it a reset. We must reset our democracy. We must reset our governance. We must reset our economic management so that our people can benefit from the dividends of democracy. And so this administration bears the responsibility on all your behalves to make sure that we get it right so that we can continue to be relevant stakeholders in Ghana's politics. And as he said, if we don't do that, we're not immune from, unconstitutional interventions like we have seen in our neighboring countries. And so I send a caution to all who want to serve in government and will be called upon to carry out some responsibility of public trust, to do so diligently, knowing that the public is whom they serve and that they don't lord it over the public. The outgoing government has been punished for their arrogance, for their impunity, for mismanagement, for corruption, and it's not like the red flag was not waved. People, all manner of people try to get through to them that things were not going well, but they won't listen. And that's why I said yesterday that they believe that power is from themselves and not that power is from the people. Now the people have shown that, yeah, we really hold the power and we give it to who we want. And so that must be a lesson to all of us, that the people are the ultimate owners of power and that they will give it as they want to whoever they please. And so the mandate they've given us, I don't take lightly. I take it very seriously. And for me, like I told the apostolic fathers who just left here, for me it's about legacy. 4 years, establish a legacy of resetting our nation, good governance, create a platform for the next generation to take it away. And for me, that is the focus. And like I said, we might take decisions that are unpleasant because you must, to reform the country from where it is, we need some bold measures. And some of those measures might be severe and unpleasant, but people should understand that it's being taken in the best interest of the country. And when you are sick, sometimes you have to take very bitter medicine to be able to get well. I mean, if you want to take only the sweet medicines, you won't get well. And so we need to brace ourselves for some inconvenience, but it will all be in the national interest to be able to make things happen. Like I said, the election was not perfect, but the difference this time was our party took advantage of the instruments that the electoral process gives us to police the election. And we did that effectively this time. And so training our polling agents better, making sure about the quality of people we sent to each polling station, putting in our collation system to make sure that we collated our results on time, and putting in a transmission system that made sure that by 11 that night, we knew overwhelmingly that we had won because we had received 37,000 of our polling station results. And so we knew by 11 o'clock that we had won by 56-point-something%. So I think that even though the electoral process is not perfect, there's a responsibility on political parties to make sure that we use the levers that the election gives us to be able to police the poll. But we must also do a postmortem and see what went wrong. There are still issues of ballot paper printing and ballot paper stuffing, because in many cases we found people with EC ballot papers, genuine ballot papers. And the question is, we must investigate, how do they get these ballot papers? Who prints them for them? Who gives these ballot papers to these people? How do they get the plate of the Electoral Commission to be able to print ballot papers? We believe in local capacity to print, but if we're going to print and always have a situation where duplicates of the ballot papers leak and give the people the opportunity to stuff the ballot, then we might look at printing those ballot papers outside and bringing them. So until we solve that, the security printers must come together and make sure that if they don't want to lose business, then this thing must stop, because it undermines the electoral process. Aside from that, we must get the issue of pink sheets right. You know, how we can all fill the same pink sheets at the polling station, and then we come to collation center, and then the party is holding a different pink sheet, Electoral Commission is holding different pink sheets. It shouldn't happen. And so, in a few cases, it still means that some of the electoral officers, you know, are willing to be induced to be able to switch pink sheets or alter figures and all that. There's a case where alternate pink sheets came from Electoral Commission, and instead of being the other duplicate, they were not carbonated, written in pen. You know, these are all things that we need to look at and see how we can correct the electoral process so that tomorrow it does not create a problem for us. I just want to say that we will work together. We're open to suggestions and to any opinions that you might have. In terms of governance, my door will be open to all the minority parties. If there are any issues that you think that government should address, you are, welcome to suggest them. As I said, Boko is going to be one of the major issues we confront. We had managed to maintain the peace in Boko until this government came along, and some security lapses led to what has happened. And so one of the things we're going to do is to look at that as quickly as possible. Luckily, this morning I got my first security briefing, and you can be sure that Boko was one of the issues that came up. And so it's something we're going to tackle and look at how we can calm the issues, because Boko is particularly sensitive because of the external terrorist threat. Because if you look at the theater where this terrorist threat is taking place, it's just across our border from Boko. And if there will be any likely incursion, the unstable nature in the Boko area will create a fertile ground for penetration. And so as quickly as possible, we must try and resolve the issue in Boko. And I do think that it's something that we can get the understanding of the two groups to realize that we are all one people and we must learn to live together in peace. Nobody benefits from conflict. I mean, Mamprosi businesses have been affected. Kusasi businesses have been affected. And so people want peace so that they can go about their businesses and earn their livelihoods. And so that's something that you're sure we would look at. With Ghana Freedom Party, I give you my condolences again for the passing of my mother. You know how close I was to her. Unfortunately, I mean, that is life. I mean, things happen, and sometimes disagreements occur. And so somehow we parted ways, and she went to support my opponents. But I don't begrudge anybody. If you know me, I'm not a person who holds grudges against people. And so I'm happy that her party has survived her. And I think that in her memory, you must continue to strengthen the structures of the party so that it can continue to be a testimony, you know, to what she's been able to do, considering her level of education and her advocacy and participation in our politics. You owe it to her to maintain the party and be able to continue to institutionalize her memory.
We want to thank His Excellency President-elect for giving us the opportunity to come say congratulations message to him and to the team that have fought to give us, everybody, a peaceful election and a successful one. As a matter of fact, this election wasn't an easy one. It was an election where everybody was thinking, are we going to have a peaceful election or not? So we were all on standby praying to have a perfect, transparent, and a peaceful one. Like I said in one of the IPAC meetings, elections are not won by the EC. Elections are won at the polling stations. And if you are very vigilant at the polling stations, that is where you can get your victory. If you're not, you won't see your victory. You have to win with huge margin, and nobody can dispute the fact that you have won. Not even the Electoral Commissioner can dispute that fact. And I have been vindicated with that statement. Actually, we in the APC believe that President Mahama has been given another opportunity to be president. That opportunity was given by majority of the Ghanaians because they think that the previous government or the current government did not do much, and they wanted a change that will carry everybody along, not just members of the MPP or NDC or any other party, just every Ghanaian was fighting for change, and that change has been effected. And the only way you can change people is when you involve them in the process of change, and the change will be effected. So for us, we have all seen what happened in the last previous government. History has repeated itself 3 times. In 2008, the NDC against the MPP, you saw what happened. Majority of the NDC people did not come out, and the MPP people did not come out, and NDC won. In 2016, it repeated itself again. Majority of the NDC people did not come out, and then MPP won. Today, 2024, history has repeated itself again. What it means is that there has been some break between leadership and grassroots over the period, every party. And we have to take this clue, this example, and this precedence to know that the 2024 elections was not won just by the campaign of the NDC alone, but by the displeasure of many Ghanaians who did not see you today as President Mahama. You are the future today, and you are the present today and the future tomorrow. So leadership this time round would determine whether the majority political parties are going to have a say in next coming, or we are going to run back to a military regime. If you perform well, Ghana will move on with democracy. If you don't, then military will rather come in and say, look, we don't even trust these political parties anymore. Because if you look at the election this time, the voter apathy has gone up. Huge. Huge. Many Ghanaians didn't want to vote again. They are not interested in politics anymore. And I said one thing in the middle of my campaign. I said the election is going to be determined by 2 factors. Factor number 1, the die-hard members of NDC against the die-hard members of MPP. And whichever party comes out with the majority will win. And factor number 2, Ghanaians deciding that they want a third force. And so we are not going to vote for NDC and MPP, and we'll go to a second round and elect a new leader. But the first one came. So for me to you, Mr. President, is that we are all in your hands. Ghanaians are going to watch you your first 3 months. Your first 3 months will determine the future of this country. How you run your first 3 months will be what Ghanaians will be looking up to see whether there will be a change in anything or there won't be a change at all. So mine is for you to concentrate first on your first 3 months. Very key. What policy alternatives are you bringing to convince Ghanaians in your first 3 months? And secondly, I will also advise that from now till your first 3 months, that at least Ghanaians need a change of mindset. They want to see a leader they can follow, they can relate with, they listen to, a leader that is transparent, sincere, and honest. If you look at the current government, you realize that they've stopped the State of the Nation address. They don't even talk about the State of the Nation address anymore. So if you can concentrate on that for the first 3 months, that at least every month you come out to tell Ghanaians the state of the nation and what you intend to do for the next 3 months. So this month you come out and tell us, this is where we are, this is where we need to get to. This will allow Ghanaians to have hope and trust and confidence in your leadership. And when they do, I'm sure you will carry the future, the present and the future.